Sorry. And CSIS-Pertamina Banyan Tree Leadership Forum today. The Banyan Tree Leadership Forum that is supported by Pertamina is Washington's premier platform for Southeast Asian leaders to engage the Washington, D.C. policy community. And I'm very pleased today to welcome Indonesia's Minister for Energy and Natural Resources, Ignasius Jonan, to deliver keynote remarks. I'm also thrilled to have Pertamina Acting CEO Nicke Widyawati here today. Pertamina's support for this forum and other work here at CSIS are ensuring that Indonesia and Southeast Asia are central to how Washington thinks about the Indo-Pacific region. And I also just wanted to quickly acknowledge many important friends we have with us here today, including former ambassadors to Indonesia, Bob Gelberd, and I think Bob Blake may be here. Oh, there's Bob Blake. We have the President of the United States Indonesia Society, Ambassador David Merrill. And I don't know if we have Ambassador Ted Osius with us today. He's not here. Okay. Minister Ignasius Jonan is Indonesia's Minister for Energy and National Resources, which is a critical post given Indonesia's vast natural resources. This is Minister Jonan's second cabinet posting under President Jokowi, having led the Ministry of Transportation from 2014 to 2016, where he was central to the president's push to expand the country's infrastructure. Prior to that, from 2009 to 2014, Minister Jonan served as President Director of Kereta Api Indonesia, the national railway company. In this role, he rose to national prominence by leading a dramatic transformation of the country. And Minister Jonan is no stranger to the United States. He is the product of several of the U.S.'s finest institutions, including receiving his master's from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. I'm sorry we're a little delayed starting our program today. We wanted to upload a presentation that Minister Jonan will give and present today, and that just took us a little bit of time. So sorry for the delay. But without further ado, please join me in welcoming Minister Jonan.
Excellencies, on or?
Yeah, it's on.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's not good timing for Indonesians to have an agenda in DC this time because we prefer to watch the football match. I think some of my younger colleagues at the back are. They just be here just because of my presence, but they don't care whether I talk correctly or not, because they open all their mobile phones and watching football match over there. We this time thank you to Pertamina. So I have CEO of Pertamina with me. So. Ms. Nicke Widyawati and some business people also. The very senior business people, Mr. Arifin Panigoro is here. And when he joined the engineering school in Bandung, Mr. Arifin Panigoro, the acting CEO of Pertamina wasn't even born. So I just want to reflect on how young he is now. I have asked Amy whether I have 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So she said, what did you say?
As long as you want.
Okay. I would like to explain a little bit about, can I have some pointers or something? Yeah. About the energy policy in Indonesia and also the mining sector. I do understand we have a representative from Chevron here, and anybody from Freeport? From Freeport? Okay, no. Next. Okay, This is the acknowledgement of Indonesian reform. I hope you can. My presentation can be copied later, so its full presentation can be copied, but I will not go page by page because perhaps you will get bored. But I'll go to very interesting pages. The ease of doing business 2018, we're up 19 ranks, so I think it should be good. A Gallup World Poll, I think we are, along with Swiss, have gained the highest public trust level. I hope it's correct. Investment grade improving, even though many people in Indonesia are not that happy, but this is what we have achieved so far. And the Global Competitiveness Index has been up for 5 ranks. Next. If you click every blue alphabets there, so it will translate into like 10, 20 pages of explanation. But if I explain all of them, so we have to go home the day after tomorrow, I think. So let me continue. Can I operate myself or something? No. Is there any tools that I can operate this? Oh. Advanced. Okay. One is that it's been complained or advised many times by many investors, including domestic investors, the regulations, too complicated, too many regulations, and so on. My president has instructed many times to reduce the regulations, and we did. My agency did cut, I think, almost, I think at least 40% to 50% of the existing regulations. So, but sometimes my colleagues in the cabinet, so other ministers ask me, how do you do it? I just ask my people to cut it off. But it's not easy because oil and gas, mining sectors as well, all extractive sectors are multi-agencies regulatory complex. So we have to pursue to the environmental ministry and some other ministries to support this idea. This is interesting. This is electrification ratio by 2017. We have achieved 95.35. So while it's not, it's been unheard of in the advanced country, but this is what we have to face. So we just cannot ignore that this is the reality. By the end of 2017, we have achieved 95.35% electrification ratio. So that means along the way, we still have around 4.65% Indonesian inhabitants are not electrified or are not served properly. So, and if you ask me how many of them, so we just 4.65% times 265 million people. So perhaps 12 to 13 million people still unserved, which is big. 3 times of the people of Singapore. And what we have to do, we will try our best to achieve to cover the all areas by the end of next year, 2019. Can we do it? I believe we can do it. I bring Director of National Electricity Company with me, so you can have a chat later on, maybe during the Q&A. This is an efficient solar power lighting program. So we put rooftop solar panel to every household that have not been served by the grid. When the president assigned me to this job, so I reported to him that there was at least 2,519 villages without electrification. Well, in addition to another perhaps 10,000 that are being served by electricity poorly. So this is the job that is not easy. So it's not business per se, but it is the equality issue. It is the equity issue that has to be accomplished. What is the impact? What we worry that much is that if there is no such attention from the central government or from the government to reduce the Gini ratio or to put the equity issue into a very serious attention, so one of the key worries that we might face in the near future is the rising radicalism because of the unhappiness of some part of the people. But we'll try our best. We believe that we can accomplish the 2,500 villages with electrifications by the end of next year. Last year we have put more than almost 80,000 households electrified. This year the plan is 175,000 households. It's free. We just put the rooftop solar panel, we put the electrification, and that's it. We don't try to collect the money from them. No. I don't think, you can see the pictures later. I'll show you. This has also been interested by one or two US corporations that try to also help to make electrification in Papua. So you can copy later maybe, but because this is the summary of the regulation and so. But openly, as I said, so we are open. We do not make a limitation that whether a state control institution is the only institution that can provide the electricity, but the private sector can also make a business provide the electricity to the public with an approved tariff. The tariff has to be approved. Who will approve the electrification tariff in Indonesia? By law, is this gentleman, the only person. Well, of course, I have to consult the president. This oil and gas. For people who are in the upstream oil and gas business, so perhaps, well, we have shook the world a little bit when I joined this organization. As Amy said, that I came from transportation, so, and prior to that, I ran the railways. So the railways man is generally known as very stubborn. And you can ask Ambassador Blake about me a little bit later, maybe. But so far, what we want to put in the oil and gas is to make this industry or this sector or this activities is as competitive as possible. This morning, I attended the ministerial NCO meeting for the gas, chaired by Secretary Perry. And it seems to me that this industry, oil and gas industry, has to be more competitive compared to what they have done before. So there is no such, they charge whatever they like, and they can sell it to the people whatever they want. No. So, because they are competing with the renewable energy, some other sources of energy as well. Well, you can read it later, maybe. Refinery. So, the president has embraced so many times to invite anybody, almost anybody, to invest or developing the refineries, including the petrochemical company on the ground in Indonesia. So Exxon or Chevron, or perhaps Chevron as well, and some other big players or big boys are expected to invest, to build the refineries, including also our national companies, Pertamina. I know by building only the refinery is not economically viable, So it has to be followed up by the downstream, by making the petrochemical businesses, which is okay. Oop. Is that all? Well, you can read it later about the renewables. This is the commitment of the climate change. This is the energy mix. So, well, I hope it's still okay here. So I don't follow the U.S. domestic politics, but this is our commitment that we will try to achieve at least by 23% of energy mix by 2025. If you ask me, is it going to be easy? It's not. In the power front, so far, we have achieved 13%, 1-3. So another 10% is to be accomplished within 7 years. Can we achieve? Perhaps around 20% can be achieved, supported mostly by geothermal and hydro. On the transportation front, it's not easy. So we are struggling with the supply of ethanol. This is a good opportunity, I guess, for the gasoline-based engines. For the diesel engine, it's been okay. So we put 20% palm oil mix in the diesel engine, but not in the gasoline engine. For gasoline engine, we expect the mix of ethanol. We also have this toy, the wind power. It's been commissioned lately. Small, 75 megawatts in the southern Sulawesi. So another 2 are being made. One in the Cineponto area in southern Sulawesi, and another one is in Tanah Laut in southern Kalimantan. The last 2 are with GE technology. This is the goal. So we try to achieve, this is the electrification ratio that I explained. I think you can copy later this one. Anybody from the industry, except for Pak Yanto? You from the industry? Okay. You can copy this later. Is that all? Stop here. It's gone? Yeah. Can I have the picture of the household in Papua that we put the rooftop solar panel? It doesn't work. Okay. So that's all. Any question?
Why don't you sit down here and we can
Thank you.
moderate a question and answer session. Thank you. Thank you, Minister Jonan. That was a very interesting set of slides and discussion. We have a lot of expertise in this room. It's a very full house of people who have come to hear you. So I'm not going to ask you a lot of questions. Let me just kick off the conversation with a couple. And first, let me ask you about Indonesia has recently reinstated fuel subsidies. And I'm wondering what kind of impact that's going to have on other priorities, such as infrastructure, where you played a key role when you were Minister of Transportation, and I know it's a priority for President Jokowi. So can you tell us about how fuel subsidies are going to impact infrastructure and other aspects of the economy?
I think the perception is not properly correct. I told Edward Manandi, he asked me many times about this, and I told him that he needs to read a lot more. Why? We do not embrace for the subsidy increase at all. We do not. What we try to do is to compensate our national oil distribution company like Pertamina, with some other things. We keep the basic gasoline around 88. It is old-fashioned gasoline, so we have to find a way to abolish this one later on. But we try to keep the price because of the affordability of the public. It's not purely that, well, my president is going to run next year and so on. That's not the issue. The issue is the affordability of the public. How we keep this price in place without jeopardizing significantly to the existence of our distributor. Okay? A few ways to do it. Well, we told Pertamina, we don't increase the price, you have to still distribute with the same price, but we compensate you with some other things. One, we compensate Pertamina with, I think, a 12 productive oil and gas blocks, which is significant. I give you example, the largest block or the biggest block that we compensate to Pertamina is what we call Mahakam block. Mahakam block produce on the daily basis, I think equivalent to 150,000 barrel oil equivalent per day. Does it answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you've been with President Jokowi really from day one. And you mentioned the election that's coming up. Can you share with us what are your main takeaways of President Jokowi and his administration?
Well, it's a very difficult question. What do you want me to say?
You may have some insider kind of view of the president and how he prioritizes things or goes about his business that just some impressions you might want to share with us?
I think above all else, I think he is for the people. This is what I understand, that he's been he's been in the office for almost 4 years and keep pushing the equity issues to the cabinet members as well as to the bureaucratic engines that he's running. And so far I have a short film, perhaps 4 or 5 minutes if you like. It is in Indonesian language, but if you look at the film, you can understand why we're doing this and so on. But one is the equity issue, so he's for the public, that's one. Second, he's for the infrastructure. It's not perfect, I do understand. Some might not be accomplished, I do accept, but most of them can be accomplished. So those two. Number 3, as far as I understand, so he doesn't put his own fingers or his family fingers into the businesses. So far, which is okay.
I'll ask you one more question, which is about China. And last year, or recently, you signed an MOU with China on strengthening cooperation in the energy sector. And so in the foreseeable future, what role do you see China playing in Indonesia's energy sector?
It's a very interesting question. I'll put it this way. The direction from the president is that the business should be, what is the main measurement of the business? The main and the only measurement that we have to put in place is the economics. That's all. So we make an agreement with China and some other countries, but at the end of the day, when we go into implementation, we have to go to the economics. It doesn't matter whether China or US or Japan or whatever. So as long as it is good for both sides, profitable, so we go for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let me open it up for questions from the audience. Yes, here, the woman here. Yes, please identify yourself and ask a question.
Thank you, sir. Stand? Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much for an informative and interesting overview of Indonesia and the investment climate pack, Ignasius. I was wondering, in the forecasts for oil and gas consumption in Indonesia for 2025 and 2050, how much of the oil and gas do you envisage coming from domestic and how much from imports, please? Oh, sorry. Amanda Battersby from Upstream. Thank you.
This is you're asking about the oil or the gas? The gas? Yes. Okay. At the moment, we consume 60% of the domestic production of the gas. And well, I just talked to my colleagues just recently that I think the government will keep pushing the use of the domestic production as much as we can. So if you ask me, so what is the expectation by 2025 and by 2050? So historically, if we look at the past perhaps 25 years consumption, so the growth of the gas consumption will get along with the growth of the economy. So perhaps 1.5 times, 1.3 times. So let's assume that if the GDP growth is 5%, so I think the consumption of the gas might go up by like between 6% to 7%. Yep.
Next, we have Ambassador Blake, all the way in front here.
Minister,
Can you just wait for the microphone? Thanks.
You don't need. Yeah. Minister, you've been very active, as Amy said, both in developing the railway network and now the entire energy infrastructure. It's sort of an article of faith among economists that if you invest in infrastructure, that's going to have an impact on growth. And yet, growth has remained pretty stable at about 5% or so, maybe a little bit more. When do you expect all of these infrastructure investments to actually begin to kind of boost growth? And do you have a sense of that?
It's a very good question. It's unfair because you used to be in Jakarta for many years. It's a very valid question. So it's been asked not only by Ambassador Blake, but by also the politicians in Indonesia, as well as the opponents in the parliament and so on. But I would like to say like this. So some of them, perhaps 1/3 of them, I might say, will start producing when it is commissioned. 1/3. 2/3 might take time. If you ask me how long, I don't know. Maybe 5 years after commissioned, or 10 years, or 15 years. Why? Because perhaps 2/3 of the infrastructure that have been built for the past 4 years are located in the very low economic growth area. But the question is, if we do not build it now, then when? I believe Ambassador Blake been to Papua before, a few times, I guess. So if you travel to Papua, so many complaints about the infrastructure, many unhappiness. So they talk to U.S. ambassador that they have been neglected and so on. Okay, now we build it for them. If you ask a good economic growth for the money that we have spent for the infrastructure in Papua, I think we have to be a bit patient. That's my answer.
Okay, here in the front. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wayne Forrest of the American Indonesian Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to comment that in March, I took a Kereta Api train from Jakarta to Yogyakarta. It left on time, exactly when it was supposed to leave, very clean. So I urge everybody to use the Kereta Api trains. I had a great experience, and it got there on time. So congratulations, because I know that you had a lot to do with that. My question's a little tougher, though. Indonesia now mandates mining products have to be processed locally. Yeah. And that's been controversial. Everybody knows that. You know that. You inherited the policy from before. The smelter is not necessarily in the law, but it's in regulation. And a lot of people object to that and say it's not economic, okay? So you're basically taking some commodity, not all your commodities, and you're mandating some industrialization. My question is, and my members import a lot of commodities from your country. I mean, my organization's the oldest, goes back to 1949. We're the ones that buy spices, coffee, all the rubber. And you never put a mandate that rubber has to be processed and industrialized in Indonesia. But yet today, Indonesia still exports plenty of natural rubber, very unprocessed, and also makes tires and fan belts and gloves and many other products that are industrialized, but never was it a mandate. Why did Indonesia choose mining products for this type of mandate and not all those other products?
Okay. You're not representing Freeport, right?
Well, I have other members, not just Freeport.
Okay.
Okay, it's not just about Freeport.
Okay. It is by mining law. It's mandated by mining law, crafted in 2009. If you ask me why, my honest answer is that that's the law.
But wasn't there some idea to change the law a couple of years ago, abandon the law, understanding some of the realities that people were presenting in front of the government?
Well, there is an initiative from the parliament currently to amend the law. But I don't think it can take place before 2019. You don't ask my personal opinion on this, right? You do not.
I would love to hear any opinions, personal, government. We can be off the record. Amy, you can tell us whether or not this part is on the record.
It is on the record because we are live streaming, I believe. So we can't pause and do a quick off the record session. But I think the answer is clearly politics that I'm hearing. Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Hello, Minister. Good morning. My name is Gerald Hank. I come from Boston, Massachusetts. There's no question from your presentation that with solarization of all Indonesia, the economic progress is going to be great. But what I'm wondering is that how does such a progress affect the cultural and ethnic infrastructure of Indonesia the Great?
It's a very good question. I travel a lot, and I think out of the 34 provinces in Indonesia, and we have 500 cities and regencies, so I think I've traveled perhaps almost 3 times of the 34 provinces. I visited, I think, more than 350 regencies in Indonesia. And I talked to them. Whenever we implemented new infrastructure, in my responsibility, I talk to them whether they like it or they don't like it. But I have also told them that it might change the way you live. And can be good, can be bad, can be both, good and bad. I give you example of the lightings in the far away remote areas, in those very isolated villages. I told them, if you get electrified, the life will completely change. And please try to embrace these changes more on the positive side. But I cannot teach them. I never lived like that in my life. But they have to adjust themselves. This is my opinion. But I told them, if you don't want to be electrified, it's also okay. Just make a statement in writing, I'll take it back. And I will keep it. This is very important. So we don't push them. We do not. I personally, in my responsibilities in transportation as well as in the energy sector, I never pushed. If they don't like it to be electrified, it's fine. It's up to them. It's free.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, Samuel Troper, Holocron Foundation. Have there been any efforts to, optimize your existing resources or supply chains using artificial intelligence or blockchain or any other cutting-edge techniques?
I think they do. They do use the AI, but it may vary from one institution to another. I would like to say in this sector, I think it's a bit basic. It's a big business in the very near future or in the coming years, I would like to say. And I give you an example, like subsurface data for the oil and gas. We are struggling to make this data is quite concise, reachable, easy to access, and so on. And it takes a lot of effort to make it happen. That's one example.
Yes, woman here. And this may be our last question.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Veronica Cartier. Selamat siang. Selamat datang di Amerika. Allow me in speaking in 2 languages as I'm originally from Indonesia, dan kepada semua delegasi Indonesia. Sangat baik sekali penerangan Bapak. Namun demikian, ada pertanyaan saya mengenai security sector. Bagaimana tanggapan Indonesia atas keagresifan China pembangunan military base di South China Sea? Dan bagaimana itu impact-nya kepada keamanan di daerah Indo-Pasifik? Would you please elaborate, explain, with the aggression of China in South China Sea, with the building of the military base, how does it impact to Indonesia, especially in the Indo-Pacific region, because international community needed the freedom of navigation? Terima kasih, Pak. Thank you.
You're getting all the easy questions today.
It's not in my portfolio, but let me try to explain from the perspective of my portfolio. We have a big gas reserve in the North Natuna. It's in the tip of the South China Sea. And used to be with Exxon for 30 years, but Exxon finally gave up and returned to the government. And the government has assigned Pertamina, our national company, to explore more or to continue exploration. And we have told Pertamina that if they would like to bring partners, so it has to be approved by the government. And second statement that if they bring Chinese partners, CNPC or PetroChina or CNNOC, they have to bring another non-Chinese partner with them. We will not allow only Chinese partner to work in the North Natuna, in the South China Sea. No, that's my statement.
I thought it was called the Natuna Sea now.
It is Natuna Sea.
Yes.
It is Natuna Sea. And I think a few days ago, I think either my ambassador or some other people asked me about this kind of issue as well. So I said, I haven't received any notice or notification from other agencies that the security issue is mounting in the South China Sea or in Natuna Sea. So I haven't heard any issues so far.
Well, I'm sorry we have to end it there because I promised the minister I would get him off on time for his next engagement. But please join me in thanking Minister Jonan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taking all the tough questions.